Maria Constantinescu, President of IABC Montreal. Welcome to our video blog, a series of interviews with leaders in the communication industry. Today we are sitting down on Google Hangouts with Jim Shaffer of Jim Shaffer Group, and we're going to be talking about strategic business communication. Jim, we met earlier this year in New Orleans for the IABC World Conference, where you gave a workshop as part of the Circle of Wisdoms to senior communicators, discussing about the importance of attaching business results to everything we do in our profession. And the first question that comes to mind is, what does it take to be a successful business communicator in 2016?
Well, Maria, I think it takes a lot of different kinds of skills and knowledge than it did historically. Historically, communication people were all about distributing news and information, and that was good, and that is certainly still very useful. But today, there's a lot of pressure on all functions, all disciplines in the organization to make sure that they're adding value. Value is defined more often than not as creating a gain that's greater than the cost of creating it, or would the customer be willing to pay for this? So with those kinds of pressures coming on communication people, it's real important that they spend more of their time looking at, how do I add value by improving the performance of the business? That requires different kinds of skills and knowledge than they've had in the past. For instance, financial and business acumen. It's very, very important that communication people know and understand how we make money, how I can translate the business strategy and the financial statements down to the people in the organization so they can understand how they connect to the strategy and the financial statements. It also means that communication people need to understand leadership issues, the role of leaders and what they say and what they do, and how they behave and how they talk, and the extent to which they could send mixed signals if those aren't together. The other thing that I would really strongly recommend communication people to be much more informed about are the systems and processes which communicate very powerfully. That's like reward systems and measurement systems and learning and development and work processes. And then finally, they really should have an understanding of Lean Six Sigma. And I realize a lot of companies have moved in that direction, a lot of them haven't. But it doesn't matter. There are some fundamental continuous improvement processes and tools in Lean and in Six Sigma that communication people ought to know. That's a very different repertoire than they've had to have in the past.
And Jim, I know you help organizations improve their business performance, and you also specialize in helping them lead large-scale organizational change programs. You work with really big names. You have among your clients companies like Verizon, Visa, Pfizer, and PayPal. How can and when we met in NOLA and I had a look at your deck, one thing that really surprised me was that the results you were talking about, results achieved through communication programs, were actually business results. And I'm just going to quote from your deck. And by the way, to those watching, the deck will be available on our website at montreal.iabc.com. So back to the results, you quote, you helped companies achieve a 50% reduction in rework in one particular case, improved quality by 26 rating points, increase in revenue of 50%, reduced paper by 93%, reduction in waste, in downtime, increase in productivity. These are all business results. These are not the traditional communication results we have been expected of to deliver. So how can communication pros achieve similar results or move the needle towards achieving business impact?
Well, I think that that's an excellent point, and it's very important that communication people understand that the business needs to improve, and they need to be helping the business improve. So their measures aren't going to be very much different than the business measures. So at FedEx, for instance, they were trying to improve U.S. export volume. The communication people looked for communication breakdowns that were causing people not to be able to sell more export volume. So I think one of the things that people need to understand, and a good, easy way to get into this is to ask the question, where are communication breakdowns causing us to underperform? And to really look at that question and identify several different answers to it. Is it in quality? Is it in service? On-time delivery? What might it be? Where are the best places to improve performance by better managing communication, not improving communication. Communication is a means to an end. The second thing is to look at the size of the opportunity and the nature of the opportunity. And then finally, what does it cost to improve it, to take away those communication breakdowns? If the return on investment is acceptable to the organization, then go for it. All of the improvements that we've made have been with communication people who are our clients in many cases, and we're looking at those opportunities to try to make the business better by taking communication breakdowns away.
No, this is fantastic. And once we have taken the decision to proactively move towards business results, where do we start?
Well, I believe you ought to do what I did, and that is start small. Don't try to take off a great big bite out of an organization. Try to improve something small at the very beginning, and a good way to do that. And when you do that, you are proving that winning is doable, that it's possible. And so what I try to do is I try to help people identify what are the one or two or three things out there that, if improved, are going to help the business succeed. Where is the value and leverage going to come from? We need to have it something that is doable, something that people can control, places where there are strong or potentially strong leaders. Oftentimes I've worked with very strong leaders, and oftentimes it's been my role to help strengthen a new leader, a new young leader at a manufacturing plant or at an office or a sales operation or that sort of thing. So start small, get a win behind you, like we did at FedEx when we improved export sales by $6.1 million, had a 1,447% return. Then we took it to 5 other locations, and we got a $6.1 million and a 1,550% return. And then eventually it went corporate-wide. So don't try to bite off a big piece of the apple right now. Go after something small, replicate it, and do it over and over to demonstrate that you can win.
The other thing we discussed in New Orleans when we met was how is such an approach working for your clients? When you sit down with a new client or with an existing client and you take them through the steps, how is it actually working for them, and what is some of the feedback you've received?
Well, it's very important that when we first sit down with the people, the leadership team, and identify what their goals are and what are their targets, and then look at where they're not hitting their targets, where they're red instead of green, green meaning that we're hitting the targets, red we're not. And then go back to the questions I was asking earlier, and that is identify where are the best opportunities to improve. I'll give you an example of a big distribution center that had too much money being spent in its supply chain, and one of the areas was in the distribution centers and warehouses. And Bob Kula, who's now Vice President of Communication for Kiewit Corporation, and I were working on this distribution center where we identified a lot of mixed messages. We said quality was important, but we were pushing quantity, and we were creating damage as a result. That is, the employees were creating damage as a result of pushing. We identified a number of places where employees weren't being hired properly. They were driving forklifts when they had never driven a forklift before. Training wasn't what it could be, and the incentive compensation for the leadership was highly disparate. 80% actually was for productivity, 10% for quality, 10% for safety. So they were getting exactly what they were paying for. Bob and I spent a good deal of time working with a wonderful head of the distribution center. We started focusing all communication equally on productivity, quality, and safety. And over a 4 or 5 month period, we had a 65% improvement in quality and a 15% improvement in productivity. As we look back and we talked to the people at that same distribution center, because we aligned all those systems and processes, those are those stick. They're sustainable. What happens in a lot of change or performance improvement efforts is we kind of do a sugar buzz kind of a event or a program, and within 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months, it's gone. What we try to do is make it sustainable by making sure the reward systems, the leadership development systems, recognition, measurement, all that is reinforcing over the long term to keep that performance where it is, but can also continuously improve it.
This is a fantastic example of internal alignment. Do you have clients seeking external results?
Yes, they do quite a bit. People like Courtney Reynolds, who is now Vice President of Communication at Northwestern Mutual. She and I work together at ITT. She has spoken at a number of communication sessions, whether it's IABC or Communication Leadership Exchange or places like that. Kristen Kelly has actually helped me. She's now Vice President of Communication at OI. She was at Darden, and prior to that, Owens Corning. She speaks at a lot of places because these are people who have good examples of how communication people can make a shift from the news and information distribution and add something else to their quiver, and that is add value by improving performance at an amount that's greater than the cost of making that performance. So a lot of people are doing that now.
Amazing. And Jim, I know video interviews always run short. One of our mutual objectives was to make our exchange live longer. So our members and followers here in Montreal will be happy to know that not only will we make available resources that do have authors throughout the year, but we can also organize a second session by request for people who have questions and comments. Thank you so much for your time today. This was so interesting and so generous of you. And I look forward to next time. And in the meanwhile, to our viewers, move fast, break things, and don't forget to join us for our September 10th event downtown Montreal, where we are organizing the first IABC Montreal video booth. This was all from me and our chapter this afternoon. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you, Maria. I would like to say one thing here, that I'm working, as you know, with IABC. I've been asked to create a online course called How to Add Value as a Strategic Advisor. And I'm working with the learning and development people at IABC, and that will be starting in the middle of September. So they might want to look out for that too, because we're going to be talking about all those kinds of things that help create pull for the communication discipline in the organization. And I hope they're able to participate in that. That would be a lot of fun.
We will definitely help you promote that.
Okay.
Thank you again, and looking forward to the next one.
Sounds great. Thank you very much, Maria.
Thank you.